Any business that you do is not a 100-meter sprint, it is a marathon.
Bangalore absorbs more real estate than Shanghai. So it's a very, very, very large market.
This country requires affordable food and affordable transport before we can provide free beer in the office.
Now here I'm sitting with IndiQube. How many of you have heard of IndiQube? मतलब बहुत ही literate and amazing. I love this. You know what you don't know is that both the founders of IndiQube have no background in real estate, have no background in managing co-working space, and yet in the shortest span of time, they have created the most profitable, and I'm using the word profitable, EBITDA positive, PAT positive, and very thriving business in the shortest span of time in India, where they are competing with the, I don't want to name, but you know, all the international players who are also operating out of India, and they have managed to create a playbook which is originally Indian, very them, and बहुत भारत play किया है और profitably किया है. So let's once give a big round of applause because it is not easy.
Thank you.
And today I invited them here because there is a lot of learning which we can take. Because when we look at businesses and especially in startups, the whole story is that पैसा नहीं कमाते हैं, startups lose money, startups are not building the business properly. But here on, today you're going to meet entrepreneurs who are all building businesses profitably and EBITDA positively. So now with that, Rishi, please tell us, IndiQube का masala recipe क्या है? That where people are making losses, and we also heard what happened to WeWork globally with all the funding and everything. How have you guys managed to be where you are?
India is a very large market in commercial real estate, okay? And in fact, the annual absorption of India is at par with US. And I'm not too sure how many people are aware that Bangalore absorbs more real estate than Shanghai. So it's a very, very, very large market. So we have to have a model which is more domestic, which is homegrown. I mean, we cannot have a replica of any Western model or anything which is a cookie-cutter approach of Western world, which is kind of put us to it. So when we started off, we knew this is an enterprise model.
Yeah.
I
So
mean,
let me add to that. So just to give more data on this. So I am the second, you can call the second innings entrepreneur. So the first business I built was created from scratch. So when we thought about IndiQube, it started as solving a need for us. And we always looked at India as a very unique market. And as she rightly said that we absorb about 40 million square feet of space. US absorbs about 40 million. So you can imagine, you can't think of many sectors where India is as large a market as US. And a place like Shanghai between 2013 and 18 absorbed about 28 million square feet. Bangalore was 55 million. So just imagine Bangalore absorbing 2 times the real estate of Shanghai. So few things were very clear to us that this is a large market. This requires 1.0. Anything that has worked in a New York kind of place possibly may not work here. And what drives Indian office spaces is the IT industry and of late the startup.
so one also, it's when they started off, like there's a huge gap. You know, you either have the tech parks of the world or you have the residential market. So you can see a lot of startups in HSR or Koramangala, they're mushrooming, right? So there was a huge gap. So we have to bring something like from unorganized to organized, which is more very unique within Indian economy and which is nowhere there otherwise in the world. And as Rishi said that we are like the first generation. So we are not the landlords. We are not the builders. So our approach was very employee-centric. The whole idea was like the employee needs has to be met, you know. Otherwise, they were working in the silos. So for us, like services like, you know, the subsidized food or safe transport or a parking lot, we thought was much more important that your free tap beer or your networking events and all. So those were the services which we made sure that was more focused on. And then there were definitely multiple, you know, minor innovations which we were doing along the process that really put us apart and that made IndiQube India model centric rather than, you know, like copying it from some other international player.
You know, but the question I have is that, again, I will take the example and, you know, for the longest time, the brand WeWork And of course, we've all, yesterday, Karan was also here, and he's done a fantastic job. But the question is that when it came to, and we saw an era, 15, 16, 17, a lot of investors, a lot of blue chip investors were investing basis what WeWork had done in US, in a lot of startups who were getting into this space. But most of them have not survived. Most of them couldn't survive for, and you'll have to tell us why, but you guys not only survived, and I'll get you both to tell us the numbers that you are clocking, but you managed to scale consistently. तो दो तीन चीजें क्या सही किया है?
So building on what both Meghna and we said earlier, see, like for example, in India, if you think about like Bangalore, and if you think that there are tech parks or there is a building like UB City, you can't be focused just on 5-star buildings. India has a huge unorganized market, and that is one place where we picked up a lot of buildings which were done 15-year, 20-year back, and did renovation at scale. Today, if you look at 35 to 40% of the supply of buildings that we have, these are renovated buildings. These buildings are done 20 years, going up to even 40 years old. And think about it, like 20 years back, everybody wanted to go to MG Road. 10 years back, nobody wanted to go to MG Road. Today, everybody again wants to go to MG Road. So I think with the metro coming in, the city centers in India are getting redeveloped, and they are coming back to life. And that is where it is very important to work with what already exists. The second thing which is very important is to understand that the hero of the story in this is employee. First, if you look at the 5-7 million people who worked in IT industry, and I'm giving IT industry because that's the biggest occupier of office space. People like us migrated 2,000 miles where jobs were. But now jobs are going where people are. So you can't be saying that an average employee will commute 20 kilometers every day for work. Work is going where people are. So that means you need to have decentralized offices typically, and have to have mass presence over there. So one thing we focus very clearly on that. The second thing, a lot of people ask us that how are you different from what Shradha mentioned, your large competitors are. I always say that, look, this country requires affordable food and affordable transport before we can provide free beer in the office. Right? So I think our priorities are roti, kapla and makan. So we always focus on the functionality rather than going with too much of the frills. And kept the employee as the hero. And around that, we started thinking what will make sense for that employee. So I think that helped us differentiate, remain grounded, and just keep doing the right thing.
And also to add, I think, we were probably in the business of doing business and not raising funds, right? So, the capital efficiency, the frugality which we were kind of running the business was very, very important. Unlike a lot of players, which there's, because when it comes to real estate, it's real money we are talking out here. So it's a real money which is going out, right? So much you could burn. And I think the capital efficiency at which we've grown at that scale has also helped us, where we are right now.
Also, to add to that, if you look at like this country, the 5-star buffet doesn't work. This country works on a concept that you start with a 199 pizza and then keep providing toppings. Before you can think about a 499 and say that there's only a 499 pizza, take it or leave it. Pay as you use kind of a thing. Personalization is very, very important. So we focus on all those aspects. We never said that, okay, you will have only a coffee or a chai, which is 20 rupees a cup. We said there is a 5 rupee cup, there is a 10 rupee, and there is a 20 rupee as well. And let the employer or the employee choose. Some employers may be very excited about putting the same money they would be putting on coffee on food. So we gave that flexibility that you design your benefits program the way you want it. For example, suppose if some employee doesn't want parking, right, in your office, and parking lot costs you 5,000 bucks, can that employee use that on Ola, Uber, or can that be used to buy food in the office? So I think subsidies have to be very targeted. As I said, that employee is the hero of the story. So anything that enhances the life and experience of the employee, the productivity is very important. So we just remained focused on that. And very early on, we realized that our customer is not the employer. Our customer is the employee. And do anything and everything that makes those outcomes better.
One question, Meghna, I have to you. One is that Rishi, I met Meghna first, and I was very excited because in real estate, I have not seen a woman, and she's done a fantastic job at that. I want to understand from both of you, when it comes to again, because we are all building our businesses and looking at revenue, looking at P&L, this also requires investment. And you guys have gone about doing it innovatively because you did not raise large capital. तो अपने P&L को कैसे आपने देखा है और कैसे month on month बढ़ाया है? Because when we go back after this event and we go back to our businesses, how do we look at that? Because what I admire about both of you and IndiQube is the profit that you make. और बिना काटे, मतलब ऐसा नहीं है that you are, you know, that's very important to call out.
So the deep answer Rishi would give, but what I can say is, so both of us have a very complementary skills, right? So I focus on the growth, he'll focus on, profitability. I'll focus on the top line, he'll focus on the bottom line. Somewhere we'll, meet in middle. So that is so far worked a lot, right? So that is how it is. And
So, Shradha, if you look at, of course, entrepreneurship today is very fashionable, acceptable. I decided to be an entrepreneur in 1999. And even we did not able to know how to pronounce the word entrepreneur, right? So I've been a entrepreneur, started a rented PC, built it brick by brick. Today that company has 2,000 employees, my first venture CareerNet, with almost 100 crore kind of PBT, with not a single rupee of VC money, right? So I always say that, please understand that this private
We all
equity...
need to come and meet you.
Yes.
Yes.
So this private equity VC funding is gold-plated money, and consume it very responsibly, first of all, right? It is not an end in itself. And any business that you do is not a 100-meter sprint. It is a marathon. Appreciate the power of compounding, typically. And growth at any cost comes at a huge cost. It comes at the cost of health, relationships, family, everything, right? So you need to grow in a sustainable way. And I think that's what we exactly followed here, that anything where the unit economics is not making sense, which is not prudent, not go for any freebies, or anything for the heck of it. So anything we believe that we can't sustain. So I give example of Indigo Airlines, right? Or an erstwhile airline like say Kingfisher, right? I don't think both of them were doing a fabulous job. But somewhere, if you lose sight of the ground, I think that's where you have a problem. So I think we kept looking at that. And this business is not about some big idea. See, India is not a hockey stick market where it's not an API economy that you get your product right and you are done. Something that is your input and something that is your output can actually, if that is not in your control and if that is not managed well, it can actually ruin the whole thing. So here it is very important that you take an iterative process, keep improving. Whatever you see is working, not working, keep doing that iteration and believe in the power of compounding and be conservative on cash. So those are the things I think which helped us in good state and allows us to build a business in a very sustainable. And for us, profit is a way of growth. Profit is not about that we are first generation entrepreneurs, middle class families, our needs are limited. So it's not that we need to stash a lot of money in the bank. But if you're not generating profits, how will you fund growth? So for us, that's very important, and we kept that way. Also, a lot to learn from the IT industry. If you look at our businesses where IT industry was, I will say, our late 90s, right? TCS, Wipro, Infosys. I think the difference was not huge. The largest company might be having 3,000 employees. The other ones might be having 1,500 employees. But now you see the difference, right? So I think corporate governance is a very, very important metric. The desire, what kind of company you want to build. I was telling Shradha that you'll be surprised being in the real estate business, so to say, and first generation entrepreneurs, non-Bangalorean, non-Kannada speaking. I have not met a single politician in 8 years of my running IndiQube, right? And there is not a week where we don't get calls. But our philosophy is very clear that we got in the business by choice, and let's keep it that way. So these are some of the first principles that one has to stick on. And not get blinkered either ways. We all faced COVID. We all see last year heady days. We are all seeing a sobering effect now. So I think you just need to go in your own stride and do that. And that's what has kept us going.
You know, it is so good that we are having, I was just thinking we should have had tech sparks instead of Bengaluru, tech sparks back to basics and basics way of building, because it's so important. And I'm just so happy that we are going to a sort of, downturn of jo bhi kaha ja sakta hai, because we are having real conversations. We are listening to real conversations because somewhere this is how businesses are built. And and you both are an example of ki lamba, endurable business you can build if you build it the right way and in a space which is difficult. Which is because real estate, whenever you come, at least I always think real estate hamare bas ki baat nahi hai. Real estate is politicians, you know, you need to have big money, big muscle to operate, but you both are simple people and who've managed to do it.
One more thing I will add to what you just said, that the place plays a very important role. One thing which I like about Bangalore, being here for 25 years, that this city still, it has grown at least 10, 20 times from the time I came in. In this city, what you know is still more important than whom you know. That character has not changed.
Yeah, very true, very
The
true.
city
And we are
respects-
all here because of that. Yes.
Absolutely. We all are product of that. And fabulous on that. Till date, you go anywhere, if you know something well, the biggest guys in the room will come and talk to you and do that. So I think that's what keeps the city going, and hope we continue that way.
2 years, some level of, I thought, arrogance had come in, a little bit of it, and maybe rightfully so, who am I to say, but comes in on the back of so much of money you've raised, but that's not the metrics.
So on that, see, I always we give this example, and this is what we learned when I in school. So I had Sanskrit as a subject along with Hindi. This Kak Cheshta Bako Dhyanam Alpahari Grahatyagi Ayam Vidyarthi Panchalakshanam. So if you see, entrepreneur is no different from that. All right, Kak Cheshta means that you need to be as persuasive like a crow. Bako Dhyanam is you need to be as focused like a crane, right? Alpahari, basically eat less, live with less is more. Shwan Nidra, which is like sleep like a dog, be always alert. Grahatyagi, abstinence. I think entrepreneurship is absolutely no different from that. Somewhere on the way, we thought this is a celebrity business, this is a page 3 business. We all need to understand that 50% of the time entrepreneurs don't make money. Only 25% time we make money, and 25% we lose money. And when the bucks are down, basically everybody is waiting out to say that, look, I said this, right? So you need to maintain a low profile in business. Business is nothing new. Business has been running for thousands of years. There is nothing fashionable about entrepreneurship. I think we have attached too much of limelight to entrepreneurship, which I think is very harmful. The best businesses are bought, they are never sold. Right? And businesses should be always kept away from limelight.
I have a little contraview. I mean, I'm nowhere justifying that one should have an arrogance and all. I'm not saying that. But these are young founders, extremely young. I mean, they've got success or money very, very young. A little bit of arrogance, I think we should have to just cut some slack. Let's take a chill pill. I mean, you know, if you go to the Silicon Valley, you will see the arrogance to a different peak. I said, I am nowhere being a fan. I'm nowhere saying it. I'm again and again saying, but little bit here and there, I think it's okay. They're too young. They're very, very young founders. I meet all the day. It's fine. You know, I just have to take it easy there.
Yeah, it's coolness. It's cool.
Thoda sa. I think because there's so much has been said, no, the arrogance part.
We are
and
just talking about our, we are all also accepting that we are old. By just saying all this, we are just accepting on this chair, all of us are old. But my question to both, you know, while everyone is listening, I really want to call out, अगर आप ये बता सकते हैं, 2-3 चीजें बताइए, अपने numbers हमें थोड़ा बताइए.
So, yeah.
Because you told about your last company. So,
Meghna, you want to take that?
no, this IndiQube number, right?
Yes.
Yes. So we are a $100 million revenue with a PAT of almost about 30 CR. Yeah. So this is what we have right now.
We do an EBITDA of about 100 crores.
100 crores.
Yeah. And with
Corporate EBITDA of about 100 crores. We
at,
do
at a PBT of about 30 odd crores.
Yeah.
Total money that we have so far put in the business on the equity side is about 325 crores. And out of that, thanks to my first venture, 125 crores we put in our own money. And we had a big fight with our investor in the last round that who will lead the round. We led the round, right? Even though they were keen to lead the round, we led the round. So we play with our own money. Clear on that, yeah. So we have been very frugal.
we want to be like you.
Thank you.
Good question on that. And congratulations. Congratulations. We need to have this conversation. We need to talk about this. When we go back, then we know that we have IndiQube also as a reference, where in a space, again, I'm calling out, in 15, 16, 17, there were so many players and most of them disappeared. Are you both also investing? Are you doing early stage investment? Because now you have so much of cash also.
I don't think that it is a function of cash that we're investing. We've been investing, yes, we've been investing, but in the companies which is closer to our heart, which we think it's an Indian story. There are a lot of companies. Like recently, we've just invested in one company which manufactures trenching machine, which is like extremely, Indian born, So those kind of opportunities which are pro India, in India, for India, by India, yes. I mean, those opportunities excites us. I think money is just the denominator. It just comes. I think you
I
just have
want to
think.
ask everyone, how many of you are pro-India, for India ventures? How many of you are building for India? See, so you have so many people, and Meghna and Rishi are two people that I would request you to go and talk and spend some time with. Yes, Rishi, anything else that you'd like to tell
Yeah,
us?
so I always say that look at the way Amazon or a Flipkart was built, right? I think I will give a lot of credit to Flipkart. They were the ones who did cash on delivery, right? In a 50-degree heat, if you have to transport cosmetics in India, right? They cracked the supply chain. I think where Amazon got right was they put the right guy on the job in India, who was empowered. And I think if you ask where our competition has gone wrong is they thought that India could be run as a franchisee. India is a large market; it cannot be run as a franchisee. What works in New York doesn't work in Connaught Place or MG Road in Bangalore. So these are the places where if I think one has to look at a 1.0 solution, and that is where very important, because if you see we took so many contra bets. We do not come from developers background, right? Most of my landlords, if you see from whom we take properties, these are all like loaded guns, right? 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 crores typically is easy, right? So when I used to go and meet them first, right, I will never go in my own car. I will always take a Ola Uber. You can't compete with them on a 7 Series. Right? So it is very important that when you have somebody whom you are collaborating or working with who is 1,000-pound gorilla than yours, you have to play on your strength. And I realized my biggest strength was my humility, right? My meritocracy, my competence. And I always ensured that I bring them in my zone of strength if I have to fight them on a level playing field, rather than getting into their zone over there. So a lot of times, even though we might be a David versus a Goliath situation, but David has a lot of strengths, right? So please be very, very clear. And we all saw that phase, as Shradha rightly said, that the investors like SoftBank, that they were pouring money, right? They were destroying category by category, right? And that's what they did. Founders are with 2%, 3% shareholdings, and whatnot, right? Broken families to whatnot has happened, right? So I think we were lucky as well that madness stopped well in time, at least in our category. At the same time, we remained true to our vision. And this is a services business. This is not a real estate business. And services business, Oberoi or Taj will always be there. There will be multinational hotel chains which have started in India. But I think if one has to say which is the best hotel chain, I will invariably any day bet on the Indian hotels and their hospitality vis-a-vis the American or the European hotels, right? So we have very distinct strengths. If we just focus on us as entrepreneurs, I think there is more and enough opportunity which we can tap on.
You know, Rishi, Meghna, this is fantastic. One can keep listening to both of you. But most importantly, again, I'm calling out, again, this is a conversation, and I hope we talk about more, is about building businesses like you guys have done. And a huge congratulations to IndiQube, and we hope that you go on to keep winning in India and keep building for Bharat and for India. Because most of us, can't even afford a lot of space, because price is very important, और price के साथ quality भी चाहिए जो कि आप दे रहे हैं. Anyone, if you have any questions, quickly ask.
impressive and inspiring story. Are you planning to take along the public alongside with you by raising capital as a debt instrument, or giving an option to raise money as an alternative investment, like fractional ownership in your buildings, as some of your competitors are doing right now?
No, we don't want to do that. Because if you see this fractional ownership model of real estate is the B in quotes of any asset actually, right? And I will strongly desist people from investing in fractional ownership models, because in India, the way titles are managed, unless until you hold any piece of real estate tightly in your name, partial ownership, people may call it a quasi-REIT. Those are quite dangerous instruments, and we clearly will recommend people to desist. We don't want to go for fractional ownership. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for taking out time to
Thank
come
you.
to this event and talk
Yeah,
to entrepreneurs.
thanks.
Thank you.